Hello, gorgeous ones. Wednesday morning, Dr. Lucy here with low carb tips. I think I'm going to call this session. I've got to come up with a good name. Melbourne's coming out of lockdown today, so we are all very excited. And interestingly, it's not coming out when we're not. Normally, we creep out really slowly, and it's like exhausting pulling a band-aid off a wound. But we're just coming out a bit faster, so we're all a bit excited. New South Wales, oh gosh, Sydney, my heart, I don't know what I feel for Sydney. You know, I feel this little mixture of, now you guys know what it was like for us last year, I'm going to be honest, that pops into my brain. But I also just feel this terrible sense of foreboding for them and know that they've got a long, long road ahead. So, that's just a side issue, really. I'm just doing a bit of rambling. One of the things I wanted to mention today that I see a lot of in population in Melbourne, probably it would be appropriate for most of our southern states, is vitamin D. So I check vitamin D reasonably frequently. It is a vitamin, we can get it from the sun, which is really helpful, except that, of course, in Melbourne in winter, there's very little sun. And when the sun is out, it's freezing. So we're all in our hoodies or equivalent thereof. And so many people are vitamin D deficient. Now, vitamin D is really important for bone and muscle. And you know, I'm always banging on about muscle. For my lack of muscle, I want you to all have wonderful, wonderful, strong muscles. Having good muscles is really one of the absolute best criteria for aging well. So when we have good muscle mass, it allows us to do many things. First of all, it actually allows us to eat more food, because our muscle mass uses energy when it's just lying around. So the bigger the muscle mass you've got, the more energy you expend doing nothing. And I always like to think, well, isn't it good to be expending energy just lying around doing nothing? So the bigger your muscles, then the more food you can eat. Hooray. Stronger your muscles, particularly your leg muscles and pelvic, glutes, then much better for your risk of falls as you get older. Now, I know it feels like, oh my God, that's so far away. But honestly, it's not. Time, even in lockdown time, just whizzes by. So all of the effort that you put in your years now is what keeps you well when you're older. Oh, my mum's popped on. Hi, Mum. She's watching. So my mum is actually the absolute gold standard of aging well. She is strong. She did lots of aerobics when she was in her 50s. She's got good, strong glutes and leg muscles, and she walks 10 or 12,000 steps every day. Last year she turned 80, and really, really fit, strong woman, and really has aged beautifully. So that's what we want. Now, vitamin D, where does that fall in? Well, that helps us with our muscle mass, helps us with our bones. And for people who don't live in the sunny states, we are often vitamin D deficient, chronically vitamin D deficient. So you've got a couple of options. You can either go and get a test, and your level needs to be above 50, below 50 is vitamin D deficient, above 50, and you may be surprised to see how deficient you were. So at one stage I had a level of 17, and it was tricky because I've had a melanoma. And so, of course, I'm a bit fearful of the sun. So I didn't want to go in the sun, but that suddenly meant over time, my vitamin D was really low. I had to replace with big doses. So getting a level done is good because it can let you know how much vitamin D you should be taking. If your vitamin D level is just sort of cruising along and it's low-ish, or normal-ish, or around about that 50-ish, you probably still need to supplement with just one tablet a day or capsule a day, and that's 1,000 international units, it's called. But when mine was 17, I had to supplement with 5,000 every day for quite a few months to build it up. So I would say, my lovelies, that would be one test I'd be really, really keen on you guys getting when you have your next round. It's not urgent. You don't have to run off and get a test straight away. But when you are having your next round of screening blood tests, just ask if there's a vitamin D included. And if not, get one done. And if your levels are low, then supplement. You can obviously go in the sun, like that's a really helpful one. Doing it in the morning or the evening, or not when it's bright. And the thing is that you need to have the sun without sunscreen just for that short period. So I'm not saying you throw away your sunscreen. What I'm saying is a bit of early morning exposure or late evening exposure when the sun's not as intense. Very good for your vitamin D. That's it for me today, lovelies. Go well. Have a wonderful day. And I will see you tomorrow morning. Oh, sorry, last little thing. Have you listened to our podcast this week? If you haven't, it's actually on fat shaming. And there was a study released where patients felt fat shamed by their doctors, which is tragic because really you go to the doctor to get help. And if you go feeling worse than when you started, then I don't think the doctor's done a great job. With our podcast, we really want, we want the word to spread around. If you leave us a review, if you're on Apple, leave us a review because it puts it up the ratings and then somehow the algorithm suggests it to other people. So that would be wonderful, wonderful. And if you're really feeling generous, rather than just writing the stars, which of course is helpful, if you could write a few little words, that would be even better. Lovelies, have the most wonderful of weeks. Well, I'll see you tomorrow anyway. And bye for now. Bye, darlings.